On behalf of this generation of Rainey peoples benefiting from Mr. Hugh Rainey's vision, welcome to our Christmas concert.
The reason why we're at the waterfront is this is the tercentenary of a document written in 1707. Hugh Rainey was a wealthy iron smelter in Castle Dawson, and he, at the end of his life, decided that the Lord had blessed him and he should return some of the financial gain that he had to the future. So he wrote a will saying that he would leave money to found a schoolhouse and that boys would be educated, because unfortunately I'm at that stage in society, only boys were educated. So that 8 boys would go into a schoolhouse in 1713 and be educated there for 3 years, and then every succeeding year 8 more boys would come, so roughly 20 some boys should be in the schoolhouse. But the issue that we have is the will that founded that was written at a time of penal laws, and he wrote it at a time where only certain forms of religion were allowed to be practiced within the town, and there was a difficulty with dissenters such as Presbyterians owning lands. Roman Catholics also had difficulty accessing lands, and Hugh Rainey's vision of the school being open to all is something that has stayed to this day. And therefore we felt whenever it was coming to the 300th anniversary of the document that founded our school, it was something to celebrate. Yeah. So what we did was we decided that we would, after consulting with both pupils and parents and governors, we decided that we would be very adventurous, and we have partnered with an organisation called ASHA, and our project is to raise enough money to build a school in the same spirit as Hugh Rainey did, and the school stroke education centre is going to be built in Delhi, in India, in a slum in Delhi. That organisation already works in Delhi, works with folk in the slums that are around that very, very large city. And so the function tonight is to raise money to support that event. We're pretty much towards our total that we need. We need a total of roughly £50,000, and we're
22,000, are we?
Well, more than that. We're around 28 at the moment, and indeed we could probably claim to have more than that, but we're being conservative at the moment, so 28. And there are a variety of fundraising events still to take place, so we're more than halfway there.
Are you nervous about this large-scale event? It's probably the biggest our school's ever performed.
I think this is probably the largest scale event we've ever performed, and I think there have been a variety of reasons to be nervous. But as the cliche goes, it'll be all right on the night. And I think it's really lovely to see so many past pupils and friends of the Rainey coming together, and folk who haven't seen one another for a very long time were saying hello to one another in the foyer, and that was just lovely. Just to see the number of people who were greeting one another after many years. I thought that was good.
So finally the concert's about to start, so we'll now go over to the main auditorium and return to the studio at the interval.
Way back months ago, maybe even a year ago, this night was just a dream in the Vice Principal's mind. And that dream was caught by the head of music, the headmaster, the Board of Governors, gathering momentum as it sped along, infecting pupils, staff, and parents, until the dream becomes reality, and we are here tonight in the Waterfront Hall. And so it is with pleasure and indeed excitement that I welcome you all, honoured guests, and the whole Rainey family reunited here in this wonderful setting. And I welcome those of you from right across the world watching this live on the internet. 300 years ago, Mr. Hugh Rainey had a dream. He too was a man of action, and in 1707, a year before he died, he wrote his will, making financial and academic provision for just 24 boys. Today, we all know that the Rainey is regarded as one of the top grammar schools in the north of Ireland, welcoming children from every background. This evening is one of the highlights of our Tercentenary celebration, and the theme of our concert is the gift. We celebrate the gift of friendship. What most people out there don't realise is that when we enter the doors of the Rainey, we get a little Rainey brand on our hearts. And tonight, we will meet old friends and we will make new acquaintances. Pupils taking part tonight, and there are 250, will forge friendships and bonds which will last a lifetime. Now, sometimes giving costs, and tonight we celebrate the generosity of our sponsors, enabling today's pupils to follow on from Hugh Rainey's example and donate the proceeds of this night to Asha to build a resource centre in India. This carol concert is a celebration of the gift of several talents: music, speech, and drama. I have listened into a little of the rehearsals and read the content of the beautiful souvenir programme, and I know that we are in for a huge treat. The compere for the evening is Mr. Alan Clark, who was forced out of retirement by Mrs. Evans. Alan taught at the Rainey for 36 years, was head of science and head of physics, and was a bit of an entertainer on the side as well. Of course, the core reason for this Christmas season is the greatest gift of all, God's gift of our Saviour to the world. It is my belief that for many of us, this combined celebration tonight will be the highlight of Christmas 2007. And in years to come, we, the Rainey family of pupils, old pupils, staff and former staff, will look back and say, Christmas 2007, that was the year of the Rainey concert in the Waterfront Hall. Well, let's celebrate as only we can. Let's all stand to sing the opening carol, Once in Royal David City. And verse 1 is a solo by Rebecca Murphy of Form 3.
Once in royal David city stood a lowly cattle shed, where a mother laid her baby in a manger for a bed. Mary was that mother mild, Jesus Christ her little child.
As Leslie has already said, one of the gifts that we reflect on tonight is the gift of God's redemption through his Son. We have sung together of that lowly cattle shed where a mother laid her baby in a manger for his bed. And now the boys and girls of the junior choir invite us to come to the manger. They are accompanied at the piano by Hannah Hutchinson, an A-level music student from Upper Six, the junior choir.
Come to the manger, come and see the baby, come and sing his praises on this lawn. Come to the manger, come and see the baby, the little rock of ages has been born. Come to the manger, come and see the baby, come now and behold the little lamb. Come to the manger, come and see the baby who was born in Bethlehem. Sing hallelujah, sing hallelujah, sing hallelujah, sing hallelujah, sing hallelujah, sing hallelujah, hallelujah, sing hallelujah. Come to the manger, come and see the baby. Shepherds and the wise men heed the call. Come to the manger, come and see the baby who's been sent to save us all. Come to the manger, come and see the baby. Lay your gifts before the holy boy. Come to the manger, come and see the baby who'll be spreading peace and joy. Sing hallelujah, sing hallelujah, sing hallelujah, hallelujah, sing hallelujah, sing hallelujah, hallelujah, sing hallelujah, 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 sing Come to the manger, come and see the baby, come and hear the joyful news we bring. Come to the manger, come and see the baby, come now and bow before the King of Kings. Come to the manger, come and see the baby, he's a lion in a stable clothes. Come to the manger, come and see the baby, and hear the greatest story ever told. Sing hallelujah, sing hallelujah, sing hallelujah, hallelujah, sing hallelujah, sing hallelujah, hallelujah, sing hallelujah, 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 sing hallelujah. Come to the manger, come and see the baby, come and sing his praises on this lawn. Come to the manger, come and see the little rock of ages has been born. Sing hallelujah.
This is surely the largest gathering ever of the Rainey family, including not only current teachers, pupils and parents, but former pupils and members of staff and friends. And it's a real delight to welcome back Laura Piper, a former pupil, graduate of Trinity College Dublin, and now a professional actress. And Laura is reading Christmas by John Betjeman. Laura Piper.
Christmas by John Betjeman. The bells of waiting Advent ring, the tortoise stove is lit again, and lamp oil light across the night has caught the streaks of winter rain in many a stained glass window sheen from Crimson Lake to Hooker's Green. The holly in the windy hedge and round the manor house the yew will soon be stripped to deck the ledge, the altar, font and arch and pew, so that villagers can say, the church looks nice on Christmas Day. Provincial public houses blaze, corporation tramcars clang, on lighted tenements I gaze, where paper decorations hang, and bunting in the red town hall says Merry Christmas to you all. And London shops on Christmas Eve are strung with silver bells and flowers, as hurrying clerks the city leave to pigeon-haunted classic towers, and marble clouds go scudding by the many-steepled London sky. And girls in slacks remember Dad, and oafish louts remember Mum, and sleepless children's hearts are glad. And Christmas morning bells say, come, even to shining ones who dwell safe in the Dorchester Hotel. And is it true, this most tremendous tale of all, seen in a stained glass window's hue, a baby in an ox's stall, the maker of the stars and sea, become a child on earth for me? And is it true? For if it is, no loving fingers tying strings around those tissued fripperies, the sweet and silly Christmas things, bath salts and inexpensive scent, a hideous tie so kindly meant. No love that in a family dwells, no caroling in frosty air, nor all the steeple-shaking bells can with this single truth compare, that God was made in Palestine and lives today in bread and wine.
Our next guest, Joanne Moles, entered the Rainey in 1974 and even then displayed her considerable academic and musical abilities. My roll books of that era show Joanne regularly first or second in physics, alternating top spot with a certain Stephen Hogg, to whom she has been happily married for over 20 years. Tonight, Joanne is singing two pieces and accompanying herself at the piano. The cello is played by James McLaughlin. I'll say more about him later. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, Joanne Hogg.
I'd just like to say first what an incredible privilege it is to take part tonight with this fantastically talented bunch of young people up here. I've been sitting backstage just really enjoying every minute of it so far, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of the night. I've been asked to sing a couple of songs tonight, and the first one of these it's not really a Christmas song, it's actually more of a summer song, but for some reason I associate it with Christmas. I see trees of green and red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day,
dark sacred night, and I think to myself, Lord, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, the smiles on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I think to myself, Lord, what a wonderful world.
It's lovely to have James joining me on the cello in this next song. Tonight's the first time that James has ever heard this song, and it's sort of a lullaby. It's a mother's song. It was the first song that I wrote after I became a mother, and I just think tonight, as we think of the Christmas story and think of Mary, the mother of Jesus, a young frightened woman with her baby, and that she might have been thinking something like this.
Close your eyes, my precious angel. Let me watch you for a while. I'll do what most every mother does, who gazes upon their sleeping child. And I will wander about your future as I recall my past, and I wish for all the best things for you, and allow this time to last here with you. Into your dreams I let you go. Into my love I watch you grow, like the flower that opens to the sun. My heart is open to you, little one. I love to touch the curls on your forehead and hold you close to my chest, but I just keep my gaze upon you and not disturb your peaceful rest. And I wander about tomorrow, not take for granted one single day, and I pray for all the best things for you, and allow this time to last here with you. Into your dreams I let you go. Into my life let you go. Into my love, I watch you grow. And like the flower that opens to the sun, my heart is open to you, little one. My heart is open to you, little one.
Now for something completely different. Our jazz ensemble of present pupils is joined by two old pupils tonight, Judith Macaulay on trumpet and Sam Murray on trombone. For this next piece, you need to imagine a funeral in New Orleans, slow and solemn on the way to the cemetery, but on the way back, well, life has to go on and you can't grieve forever. The jazz ensemble with just a closer walk. Now for the heavy brigade, as we turn to the senior choir. Their first piece tonight is Sing Gloria by Otis Skillings, the senior choir. Our first scripture reading of the Christmas story is by Michael Brennan, a former pupil who excelled in the classroom and on the rugby field as captain of the first 15 and also an Ulster schoolboy player. He has since followed a distinguished career in medicine as Fellow of the Royal College of Surgeons in Edinburgh and as consultant plastic surgeon. Please welcome Michael Brennan.
The Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 2, verses 1 to 16. And it came to pass in those days that a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered. So all went to be registered, every one to his own city. Joseph also went up from Galilee, out of the city of Nazareth into Judea, to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be registered with Mary, his betrothed wife, who was with child. So it was that while they were there, the days were completed for her to be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling cloths, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. Now there were in the same country shepherds living out in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night. And behold, an angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were greatly afraid. Then the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for behold, I bring you tidings of great joy, which will be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Saviour, who is Christ the Lord. And this will be the sign to you. You will find a babe wrapped in swaddling cloths, lying in a manger." And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men." So it was, when the angels had gone away from them into heaven, that the shepherds said to one another, "Let us now go to Bethlehem and see this thing that has come to pass, which the Lord has made known to us." And they came with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the babe lying in a manger.
Our next piece, Breath of Heaven, was written by Chris Eaton, one of Britain's classic songwriters, in collaboration with the singer Amy Grant. It's really Mary's song, and it's a delight to welcome the chamber choir with their soloist, Nikita Boyvit. While she was at school, Nikita participated in pretty well every choir and group that it was possible for her to join, and we have enjoyed her solo singing on many occasions. Ladies and gentlemen, the chamber choir.
I have traveled many moonless nights, cold and weary, with a babe inside, and I wonder what I've done. Holy Father, you have come and chosen me now
James McLaughlin had a glittering school career both academically and musically, culminating in his appointment as head boy back in 2005. While at the Rainey, James played the piano and many stringed instruments, but excelled at the cello. And tonight he plays for us that haunting melody, You Raise Me Up, by the Norwegian composer Rolf Løvland, recorded by Secret Garden on their 2001 album Once on a Red Moon. It has its origins in the Irish traditional tune Danny Boy. James McLaughlin and You Raise Me Up.
Thank you.
drama entertains, but it also makes us think. We are to see two presentations tonight. First of all, by pupils from the junior school, and their little act is entitled Away with the Manger.
Good evening, I'm Isaacs,
How'd you do? The name's Bailey.
from your local newspaper,
The Daily Israeli.
the People's Parchment,
With all of the news.
for all of the people.
That's all of the Jews.
We heard half a rumour and wondered if maybe we could make it a story.
With shots of the baby.
Might Nick stop press? We could give it a spin.
Late arrival out at the inn.
A heading,
A picture, with your permission.
mother and baby in a stable condition.
So, let's keep it simple. Just the kid in the shot.
The babe in a manger. They'll love it. A lot.
Who's a coochie coochie coo?
Can't you get it to smile?
Maybe
Mary.
the mother could sit with the child.
Look loving.
Look, homely, look down a bit.
To the right. Is that any better?
Yeah, except for the light.
What about you?
Who?
Joseph, the dad.
Sit there, beside...
Mary.
Look down at the lad. Now, put your arm gently around your wife's shoulder.
Silent but strong. That's how you'll come over. Like the ox at the back.
Hey, we must have that creature.
But it's covered in muck.
So, we'll make it a feature.
Can't you clean it up?
You mean just for one shot?
I would be a lot happier.
I don't see why not.
Hey, there's even a donkey back here on the ground.
Could you pull it in closer?
Do you want the ox to look round?
Looks better all the time.
It's certainly fuller.
What it needs now is a touch of local colour.
Hey, what about you guys?
Bring the sheep too.
Although it is starting to look a bit like a zoo.
Crouch on the floor. There.
Mind that oxbuck? Never mind.
Just stay kneeling right there.
Out of sight, out of mind.
That's everybody in.
Except these free kings, with their gifts and their robes and their crowns and their rings. We'll just add some glamour.
Squeeze in at the side.
But could you perhaps leave the camel outside?
Hey, Isaacs, look there. What is it? A ghost?
You fool, it's an angel and a heavenly host.
Excuse me, sirs. Could you stay there and hover? A little to the right if it's not too much bother.
Of course, we gotta have crackers.
And elves. I said elves, not Elvis.
Don't forget.
And Santa.
And reindeer.
A snowman.
And a robin. A robin.
Ah, yes, a robin.
Look, I know I'm a nuisance, but it's masking the ox. Could somebody shift that dirty old box?
Yeah, in the middle of the scene, it's a bit of a danger.
A fire risk.
A hazard.
Away with the manger. Good.
Just relax a little.
Be there in a while, closer together, and all at once,
Smile.
Billed as the boys' group, but I think better described as the young men's group, we are to hear the traditional Christmas song, Sleigh Bells. Just listen to the boys jingling, tingling, and mingling.
Sleigh bells jingle, jingle, fingers freeze and then they tingle. Friends are singing and we mingle while the snowflakes fall. Hear the sleigh bells jingle, jingle, fingers freeze and then they tingle. Friends are singing and we mingle while the snowflakes fall. Jing, jing, a jing, jing, with our friends we ride together, wearing coats of fur and leather, closely into snowy weather. Sleigh bells jingling. With our friends we ride together, wearing coats of fur and leather, closely into snowy weather. Sleigh bells jingling. Jingling a jing jing ring, jing jing jing, jingling a jing jing ring, jing jing jing, jingling a ling jing jingling, jingling jingling jingling, jingling a jing jing ring, jing jing jing, jingling a jing jing ring, jing jing jing, jingling a ling jing a ring, jing 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 a ring a ling a ling. Through the hills our song is ringing, everyone joins in the singing, laughter, smiles, and faces beaming. As we go along, we go along. As our song is ringing, everyone joins in the singing, laughter, smiles, and faces beaming. As we go along, and the song is ringing through the town and by the river. Cold winds blow and then we shiver. Birds are winging, singing, teeming, joining in the song. Through the town and by the river, cold winds blow and then we shiver. Birds are winging, singing, teeming, joining in the song. Jing, jing, ring, jing, 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 ring, jing, 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 ring, jing, 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 ring, jing, 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 ring, jing, 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 ring, 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 jing, jing. Hey!
Music by Richard Rodgers and lyrics by Oscar Hammerstein, an almost certain recipe for success. And indeed, this song, It Might As Well Be Spring, won Rodgers and Hammerstein their only Oscar, apart from Hammerstein, who was already Oscar. Our soloist tonight is the incomparable Caroline Jones of Upper Six, and she's feeling rather unsettled, as restless as a willow in a windstorm, as jumpy as a puppet on a string. I'd say she had spring fever, but I know it isn't spring. Caroline Jones.
The things I used to like, I don't like anymore. I want a lot of other things I've never had before. It's just like Papa says. I sit around and mope, pretending I am wonderful, and knowing I'm a dope. I'm as restless as a willow in a windstorm. I'm as jumpy as a puppet on a string. I'd say that I had spring fever, but I know it isn't spring. I am stuck like a nightingale without a song to sing. Oh, why should I have spring fever when it isn't even spring? I keep wishing I was somewhere else, walking down a strange new street, hearing words that I have never heard from a man I've yet to meet. I'm as busy as a spider spinning daydreams. I'm as giddy as a baby on a swing. I haven't seen a crocus or a rosebud or a robin on the wing, but I feel so gay in a melancholy way that it might as well be spring. It might as well be spring.
Guy Lombardo was a famous band leader in the USA and Canada for 50 years in the middle of the 20th century. Maybe not a top-tier musician, he nevertheless impressed the likes of Louis Armstrong, who quipped, "The man gets the melody right." Getting the melody right tonight, the school orchestra, conducted by Mr. Johnny Watt, takes us on a winter frolic. Now the little angels of the junior choir will sing about another awkward little angel who followed 30 steps behind, who sang half a bar behind, who left his halo behind, but who learned a lesson that we all need to know: Jesus loves me too. The soloist is Rachel Jones from Form 2, and the junior choir is accompanied on this occasion at the piano by Julie Kizik of Upper 6. The junior choir. Now it's your turn as we finish the first half of our concert by singing the famous carol, Silent Night. And after this carol, there will be an interval of 20 minutes. Silent Night.
Silent
And welcome back. The interval in the auditorium gives us an opportunity to reflect on some of the Rainey's history. And just to remind you that Mr. Anderson is collecting material for a DVD which will be a collection of the Rainey memories. If you have any old film clips of the old Super 8 VHS videos or of school events or activities, please send them in to Mr. Anderson and he'll transfer them onto a DVD and return you with a DVD copy. We've already interviewed some former members of staff that many of you will remember, and here's just a glimpse of a few of those conversations. The full versions and many more will be included on the new DVD.
Plays put on in the school, and of course the thing I always enjoyed was the annual carol service. I thought that was one of the highlights of the school year. Another thing I remember was Ian McLaren winning the the BBC's Carol of the Year, I think it was, at Christmas. That was another outstanding occasion. But music, drama, both very, very strong and a valuable part of, I think, the experience for any people in schools.
And have you any memories of sport at your time at the Rainey?
Oh yes. I suppose the one that stands out must be winning the Schools Cup, and as an ex-rugby player myself, I enjoyed that. I can't remember the exact year. I think it was about 1983 or 84, and we beat Ballymena Academy 6-3 in the final at Ravenhill. That was a wonderful outing.
In 1962 we got to the Schools Cup semi-final, and in 1963 we managed to get to the final for the first time. And this was very exciting for everybody and an achievement for everybody. We drew that match with BRA in the final, so we shared the trophy.
Can you remember?
Really very good, and I remember there was a short opera trial by jury, and some of the staff were in it, as well as the pupils, and I was kindly asked to sing in the chorus, and I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Scenery, life. My partner in crime was Mr. Cowan, the head of geography, and Mr. Cowan constructed all the sets for, because we painted the sets as well as the backcloth, and they had one standard phrase at the beginning of every, when we said, now Mr. Cowan, now Arthur, we're going to do such and such, and he'd say, you tell me what you want and I'll tell you what you can have. This
was in a broad Lancashire accent, because he came from Wigan, I think, or somewhere like that. George, you tell me what you want and I'll tell you what you can have.
But we did well together. Yeah. And he did us wonderful. Of course, he's still living in Macrofelt. He's over 90s odd now. So
the lighting system put in, and like all works you get done in any premises, they always take twice as long as they say they're going to take. So the lighting people took an absolute age to take out the old lighting, and some of the staff here will remember the old lighting box and the lighting controls, which was a huge piece of machinery made by Rank Strand. It was then replaced by a little tiny console. But all of the lights had to be changed, and it just wasn't ready for doing Macbeth, so which is why we ended up in the leisure centre. And I have to say the leisure centre people there were very accommodating to it.
I'm quite sure that brought back some memories for many of you. I also had the pleasure of speaking to two former pupils. Let's start with the lady we heard earlier, Joanne Hogg. Joanne, may I start with school? What is the first thing you think of when you hear the words Rainey Endowed School?
Well, I think I have a lot of good memories of Rainey Endowed School. Probably one of the things that really jumps into my mind is always the piano duets that I played with George Johnson at school concerts. A lot of, probably my memories of school are kind of music ones.
And did you enjoy your time at the Rainey?
I did. Yeah, I did. I lived just literally across the field from school, so like school was just 2 minutes over the grass, and I could nip back home for lunch, and that was good. Yeah.
Was music your main subject when you were at school?
No, I didn't do music as a subject at all at school. In fact, I didn't even do it as O-level.
So Joanne, you went to university but not to study music. What did you do?
Well, I went to university to study medicine. And the funny thing is, I came from a very medical family. So I was the fourth in my family to to go and study medicine, but I mean, all through school I had kind of pursued the science subjects, and music had really just been a hobby. But you know, when I got to kind of deciding what I was going to do, it was kind of, I'd always in my mind I'd had this, you know, that I wanted to help sick people. So that was kind of how I ended up.
And at the time you were at university, I'm told there was a fine guitarist at the same time. Did you ever meet him or hear him play?
Well, I only came across 2 guitarists during my time at Queen's University, and actually did play a few times, play some songs with him. One was called David Bell, and I hear that he still, you know, does play a lot of guitar. And the other one was called Robert Robinson. It rings a bell, but I don't think he's doing much in the guitar line these days.
I haven't heard of him. When did you realise that music could be your career?
Do you know, music, I never really, thought of music as a career. But really from a start at university, it sort of became increasingly a dilemma for me, because, you know, I just found my heart really wasn't in the studying, and I used to do the first year medics had to do human dissection. So I used to sign in for the class and then leave about 10 minutes later when nobody was looking. Walk down the road to the nearest piano and go in and write songs. And it was a really inspiring time for me going to university, because it was kind of like, you know, suddenly I was out there in the big wide world. And it was just very, very stimulating time. So I started writing a lot of songs then, and just increasingly kind of felt this pull towards doing something musical.
And how did you meet the other members of Iona?
Well, it's a bit of a long story. During my year out from university, I met a musician called Adrian Snell, and he asked me to sing a track on an album he was recording, and then to perform it at a few concerts. And I met the musicians that he was working with, and 2 of the guys that were in his band then went on to form Iona, initially as an instrumental duo, and then a while later they asked me if I'd like to be part of it as a vocalist.
And what are your highlights from your time in Iona?
Oh goodness, you know, so many things. We have done some really amazing tours. Amazing in that, you know, just wacky, mad things happening. You know, I mean, we've done some tours like with really, really bad tour buses that, you know, had 2 blowouts in one day on the way to a concert in America. We had a great trip to Japan, which was a major culture shock. Just, you know, a lot of things, hard to pick out a few, you know.
And you also have a solo career. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Solo career sounds really kind of, you know, like a career thing, but, you know, it doesn't feel like a career to me now. I'm much busier just being a mum and, you know, doing things at home. But I am trying to finish a solo album. I recorded a solo album about 5 years ago, and with it being harder just to tour with the band now because of my responsibilities at home. It's just that, you know, it'd be good to just kind of keep more musical interests closer to home. So with the solo thing, you know, it's something that I can pursue. I mean, everything's so portable now. You know, I can record an album at home. So that's the plan anyway. It's hopefully going to be finished in January, and then we'll just have to take it from there.
And what's your link with the PlayStation as well?
The PlayStation was just a job I got asked to do through some guys in Japan who had come across Iona's music and asked me would I record a couple of vocal tracks on one of their PlayStation games. So I said, absolutely fine, no problem. When I heard what they were going to pay me for it, I was really excited. But unfortunately, it was a one of a kind job. I didn't get asked to do another one.
So the future for Joanne Hogg is focusing on the solo career?
Gosh, the future for me at the minute is kind of, I really hardly know. I hardly know what I'm going to be doing next year. I kind of just wait and see when I get this album finished. I'm going to have to get my head down and thing is that, you know, my youngest little boy's just started school now, so kind of find myself now with a bit more time. So I'll just have to kind of get planning, I think.
Thank you very much for. And Ian McLarnon could not be with us here tonight, so I asked him to the studio earlier. Some years ago, a sixth form pupil entered the BBC National Song for Christmas competition. This involved writing and performing a Christmas song. The school was delighted when the trophy was brought back by that pupil, Ian McLarnon. Ian is in the studio with me now, accompanied by his music teacher from that time, Mrs. Sylvia McMenemy, or Mrs. Mac as she is better known. Mrs. Mac, can I start by asking when this man was first showed his musical talent?
From the very beginning, from first form right through to sixth form, he always was keen on music. He was always in the music room.
And what do you remember from that competition?
When we went there, it was Pebble Mill, was in Birmingham then, we were met by Philip Schofield, and everyone was so friendly. We were shown around the place and introduced to the judges. Krista Berg was there, Aled Jones, Peter Skellern, and when the competition started, Ian was in the second half because the first half was the juniors. In the second half, one of the production team came over to me and asked me what return flight I was going on. And I said, oh, I'm going back tonight because tomorrow I have practices in school for orchestra and choirs. And she came back later and she said, we've booked you on the first plane for the morning because we want you to stay. And I wondered why. And then it all became clear later.
I'm sure you were very proud of being that day.
Yes, very much so.
And Ian, is it still fresh in your memory, or does it seem like a lifetime ago?
No, that's a good question, Emma. In one way, it feels like a lifetime ago. It's 18 years ago, isn't it? But coming into school today and sitting with Mrs. Mack and talking about it, it also seems like yesterday. It's a hard one.
So what about drama in school? Were you involved?
I was, yes. I was. From the music side of things, Mrs. Mack was a big influence, and I was always in the music room when I possibly could, especially if it got me out of something else. And drama-wise, there was a teacher in my day here called Mrs. Aitken, who did a huge amount of drama for the school and was also very inspirational. And so I was second or third year I started in school plays, and it kind of led on from there.
So would you consider yourself to be an actor or a singer or a songwriter?
I hope all three, really. I'm ashamed to say I haven't written very many songs since, which is, I hope that whatever talent I have is still there, but I just have been concentrating on an acting and a singing career. But I tend to do musicals in the West End, which brings them both together, the acting and the singing.
So since you left school, that's what you've been doing in the West End?
I did an English degree, to be sensible, and then I went to drama school. And then I've been working not always in the West End. It's hard to continually work in London, but touring and little repertory theatres and just keeping working.
Yeah. And currently Helena Blackman, she was in Maria with you, wasn't she?
She, not with me, but she, at the minute I'm doing a show called South Pacific. I'm touring with it, and we're at the Millennium Forum in Londonderry this week. And she was Connie Fisher's runner-up in that programme when they were looking for a search on the BBC to find someone for The Sound of Music.
And would you find her being a star, is she quite hard to work with, or?
She's not hard to work with, no, not at all. She's only 24 actually, and has had a kind of baptism of fire on that programme with Lloyd Webber and all those judges. So it's kind of kept her grounded, and she's very nice to work with, and she's talented as well.
So finally, have you any advice for any up-and-coming actors or musicians, either of you?
I think my main advice would be not to expect to earn too much money, because you'll be disappointed. But I think maybe get a qualification first. I've never regretted that, even though I've never used it. But I just think it's developmentally that's important. And train, I think, and start early and get all the experience you can, and just be prepared to keep working. Don't get too grand about it.
What about you, Mrs. Mack? Have you any advice?
I was just thinking when we were talking about Ian entering the competition, since those days we now have, each time in the choral service we have a composition by one of the students, and that has now become a tradition. And in fact, you wrote one when you were in upper sixth, Christmas again, and then in '93 we had a composition, Giving in Love, written by Gail Campton, as she was then, another very talented musician, and one of my A-level students, who's now Mrs. Evans and is head of music in Rainey.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for your time. It was lovely talking to you, and good luck in your future and your shows.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm delighted to say that another former pupil, Laura Piper, is here tonight and has joined me in the studio. Laura was often involved in drama when she was at school. In fact, there was a recording of Factory Girls in school with Laura in the leading role. Laura, do you remember that school play, Factory Girls?
Yeah, I remember it very well, mostly because it was the first play I've ever done, and I loved Frank McGuinness's work, and I got to act on stage with my friends, and after the first night we did it, it was brilliant. We had a full audience, and then the second night we had to turn people away, and so it was really fun to be part of something so successful. And also I don't think the Rainey had done a play for a couple of years, so it was quite an exciting night, and I think it maybe changed, the way of things to come, and there's been a lot more drama since. So.
And when did you first get into acting?
Probably then. I'd always had an interest with my friend Jill, and we were in upper sixth together, and then decided to go on and give acting a go, and so that was my first real taster of it. And I think having done that play, I thought, okay, yeah, I'm bitten now. So I went to Trinity and studied acting there, and it wasn't an acting course as such, but they have a fantastic drama department, so I just got involved through that and did lots of plays and did it that way. But yeah, it was, I think, actually Factory Girls that got me started.
I know you've been involved in programs like Hex and Holby City.
Yeah.
How did you get into those?
Well, I have an agent in London, and whenever a role becomes available, they'll fix up a meeting and I go along and have to audition for them. So with Hex I had to do 3 auditions for it, so it was quite nerve-wracking, and I was really excited when I got it.
And what's the best part of doing a programme like that?
Hex was so different to anything I'd ever done. There were a lot of stunts and a lot of kind of special effectsy sort of things, so that was really exciting to do, and also terrifying sometimes because I didn't have time to train properly and things like that. So every day was different, and there were some mornings where you'd arrive on set and you'd find a monster walking around having breakfast, and in one episode I had to be aged to 100, and I'd be standing having my lunch looking like an old lady. So it was a really exciting job, and I'm still friends with the people I met on it, and it's great
do you
fun.
do all your own stunts, or do you get a stunt person?
I tried to do most of them. The only time I got in a bit of difficulty was with a really choreographed sword fighting scene, and we'd only had 2 days to prepare it, so I did most of it, but I got a stunt a professional in to help me out.
And what are you doing in London now? Are you looking for some more jobs?
Yeah, I've got a few plans for the new year. I'm just waiting to hear about some things, and I just finished doing a couple of episodes of The Bill, which was a nice thing to do, and really lovely bunch of people to work for.
And who would your favourite actor be now?
I think my favourite actor is probably Vince Vaughn, simply because I like watching him, and he's very funny. Him and Will Ferrell are brilliant at the minute. They're really good fun.
Can you tell me a bit about your school life, like what A-levels you did?
Yeah, I did English, history and biology, and to this day can't remember any biology, very little history. I think I must have an amazing short-term memory, but I had such fun and such incredible teachers. It's great even to see Mr. Winters here tonight, and I had a really great time, and was involved in the committee and things like that, and really great.
My sources tell me that you were very good at technology.
I was amazing at technology. No, I think that was one of my weaker subjects, technology. And I met Mr. Clark, who used to teach me physics, and physics was a no-go area as well. Yeah.
So are you enjoying tonight's concert?
I'm really enjoying it. I'm quite amazed by the talent out there. It sounds like a proper professional orchestra, and some of the singers, and you know, it's the kind of thing you'd see on the West End stage. It's fantastic, really amazing.
And what do you think about this webcast around the world? I think there's about over 100 watching now.
Really? 100 countries? Or 100 people?
I know people from Singapore.
Countries, are there 100 countries? There's people in Singapore. No.
And Malaysia and Canada.
Wow. Wow. I think it's a great idea. Get Rainey noticed, and yeah, it's great. It's great.
Have you any advice for up and coming actresses and actors?
I would just say stick at it. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it, because if you don't believe in yourself, then no one else will believe in you, and it's a tough business, but I wouldn't want to do anything else. It's an amazing career, and yeah, just stick at it and follow your dream.
And how did you get yourself with an agent? What do you have to do?
Well, that can be quite tricky. I was quite lucky because I'd just done a film in Dublin and went over to London on the back of that and got an agent through that. So generally you have to either be in a play or have a film that you can show them or something, because they like, obviously, to see what you can do.
And so is Hollywood a possibility for you, Laura?
Maybe. I'm actually maybe going out in February, out to LA, just to see what's happening. Because my boyfriend has been out a couple of times, and I think I'll go with him this time. I think I'm ready.
If I'm not being rude, is the money good, or what do you expect too much?
It can be good. It's like everything. It depends what you do. The money's definitely better in television and film than theatre. But then theatre can be so much more rewarding to do. So
have you done much theatre?
I've done quite a bit. I did a lovely play last year in the West End, which was great. It was something I'd always wanted to do.
And what was it called?
It was called Don Juan in Soho, and it was kind of a modern day Don Juan tale set in London. So it was really fun, and it was over Christmas, and yeah, we had a good laugh. But no, the money, but also the thing with the money is you don't know where your next job's coming from, so you have to make it last.
That's great. We'll just take a look down at the auditorium now to see what's going on down there.